We use our brain or mind to figure out what to do. But what's in our mind is just a representation of what's going on. Call it truth. What is truth? That's what happens in ourselves and outside, and it changes as the time flows. So, because we are a living being, we want to make the most of what we've got. So choose the information, searching from the input that we access from outside and inside, and somehow find a way to utilize those information to make the best of what we've got, short term or long term. If there's a danger imminent, we'll need to address. If something is to happen in the future that's dangerous or something beneficial, we would prepare for that. But the basis of that information may have some ambiguity, and nothing is concrete as to our interpretation of the now as well as what could happen in the future. So it's a very precarious operation to live. But as human, we managed to evolve to live better than many others. So what we've got in the brain, the tools that we found how to use, has been beneficial to live. And there's no reason why we shouldn't use it. But we have seen in our case and in history that there are abuse of the information or misinterpretation of the information. So it's, like I said, it's a precarious process to live. But since we don't have the infinite knowledge of what's going on, that's the reality. So what's the point of my talking about it? The aim is to assess the situation as it is, not according to a biased way of interpreting the information, and draw a good conclusion so that we live well. What is the way to do that? Not mean to jump into conclusion, but what I want to say is that not just playing in what we call the monkey mind, all the information and scenarios that we develop. That's very common. We all do that. But the wise people seem to have deeper insight, even though the information we got may be available from the internet or whatever. Due to their experience base and the process they use the brain, they get more or deeper insight out of what we got. So to have such a skill is beneficial. Not consume our energy in the mind, chasing this and that, but rather clarify and digest the core message, the important and not important, to live a life well and not abuse or misuse the information with the wrong process we may have in our mind, because we may have a bad habitual pattern that we grab the information and react to it, jump into conclusion. So living life well, therefore, is a lifelong exercise. As kids has learned by making mistakes and adjusting the way, as adults and as old men, we are to do the same. Everybody's situation is different because of their experience base is different. But there's something in common. And only the point that I think it's worth mentioning is if we agree that what's in our mind is our interpretation of the reality. What is reality that is not biased or twisted? If we have that as an important basic process and work on that basis to use our mind, to find some connection, to find the right information and the right process, to get to the right conclusion, to meet the short-term and long-term goal. Even the goals could be biased. Not just the information taken is biased because of the process that we use, the brain may be biased. So that's, again, it's very precarious. So why don't we just say this? If we agree to what I mentioned, what we want is the firm basis to see truth as truth, not with the biased view of the truth. What may look like truth may be just apparent in our eyes, but may not represent the truth. So let's position ourselves every now and then to quiet the mind, digest, and let the whole body and the life force which made us to live, following the law of the universe that helped us to live, and use that as a creative source of our making decision, finding insight, to know what the reality, at least what seemed like the reality, because maybe we don't have the perfect information, most likely. And keep the process of checking and assuring that we have the closest to what we think may be truth in reality, and use that as the basis to use our brain based upon that information and the process to digest, that we can keep updating, modifying as needed continuously, because everything is changing. This process has to be ongoing, and if not all the time, what I think I or we should do probably is to have the moment of quiet mind, to assess what's going on, to know what's going on as it is, not as it appeared to be the case. And if we discipline us and discipline the habitual pattern to keep this as a way and have our source of our being, the creative energy that brought us here, to come up with more insight like wisdom to live as we move forward. Again, have a moment, quiet mind, assess the situation every now and then to check and balance and let the source of our being in the nature's way guide us as they have brought us to be born on this universe. I think that's reasonable, well, at this moment, the reasonable way to continue living in this manner going forward.